Hey, folks, good morning and welcome to another episode of Steelers Morning Rush. I am Alan Saunders. It is Friday, September 27th. The Pittsburgh Steelers are putting the finishing touches on their preparations for their Week 4 game against the Indianapolis Colts. The Steelers 3-0 traveling to Indianapolis to face the 1-2 Colts. The Steelers with a chance to put a huge stamp on their playoff chances by getting out to a 4-0 lead to start the season. That would also mean they had beaten potential other playoff teams in the AFC in each of their three of their first 4 games. This is a big one for the Steelers, and I've got, as always, a big matchup for us to break down this Friday. And this one, I think, is one that, interestingly enough, I think a lot of Steelers fans are looking forward to seeing. I'm not so sure. We'll see how this goes. But the matchup that I'm looking at for this game is Steelers outside linebacker Nick Herbig against Colts left tackle Bernhard Raimann. And this is a man, I know people are very excited about Nick Herbig, and I think Nick Herbig is an incredible pass rusher. But I'm not talking about the pass rush. I think he's going to get his in the pass rush. He's too good of a pass rusher to hold down. I expect him to get through and get to Anthony Richardson at least once or twice. But no, I'm worried about the running game, man. I'm worried about the running game because I remember what happened last year. The Steelers went into Indianapolis last year, and the Colts had Zach Moss as their running back then because Jonathan Taylor was hurt. And then in that game, Zach Moss got hurt, and the Colts ran Trey Sermon and Tyler Goodson for 157 yards on 28 carries against the Steelers. 157 yards on 28 carries from Trey Sermon and Tyler Goodson. Tyler Goodson, in his NFL career, outside of the game against the Steelers last year, has 2 carries for 18 yards. Tyler Goodson ran for 11 for 69 against the Steelers. That's 6.2 yards per carry for a guy who has 2 carries outside of that game in his career. With all due respect to Tyler Goodson potentially temporarily being inhabited by the ghost of Gale Sayers for that game, it was about the offensive line, not the running back. That's pretty clear, right? It's pretty clear that Tyler Goodson is in fact not a 6.2 yard per carry back, and that the Indianapolis offensive line was bullying the Steelers defensive line at the point of attack. And I think that much is clear. Now, the Steelers defensive line is on paper the same people that it was last year. Cam Hayward's a little healthier. I think the offense has been keeping them fresher, but 97 still there, 99 still there, 95 still there. You're still going to have TJ Watt at left outside linebacker, but this time around you've got Nick Herbig at right outside backer. Now, as I said, very excited about Nick Herbig as a potential pass rusher. I think he can get the job done there. I think there's questions, though, open questions about whether or not he can hold up against the run, especially if you put 2 guys on. You put a tight end over there, you start to move him. I'm not saying he can't. I'm just saying he's an undersized guy, and there's reason to think that perhaps he's going to struggle against this Colts offensive line that we already know is very good. And it's interesting because I think Jonathan Taylor and the Colts have run right more than they've run left. But if I'm Indy, I look at this matchup between Raimann and Herbig and think, got to slow him down. We got to run at him. You got to run Richardson at him too. But it's got to be Taylor running at him. It's got to be a full blitz on Nick Herbig to try to slow him down, because that to me is the only place these Colts have any advantage. Jonathan Taylor's a good running back. The Steelers have shut down Javonte Williams. They shut down Bijan Robinson. Those are good running backs. They shut down J.K. Dobbins, who's the best running back in the league, entering that game. They can shut down good running backs. Good offensive lines are tougher to shut down, okay? And I don't think they've played there's some good players on some of these lines. The Falcons line is okay, but this will be the best offensive line they play. Can they dominate the line of scrimmage the way they did the first 3 games? Probably not. We'll see how well they're able to do. But if this becomes a problem, if Herbig becomes a problem in the run and the Steelers decide, okay, we got to put DeMarvin Leal out there, you're losing a lot in the pass rush. And Anthony Richardson is a guy that I think will give you the ball. If you remember that last game last year, despite all the Colts running, and they ran a whole lot, they ran 34 times for 170 yards as a team in that game. The Steelers only ran 24 times for 70 yards in that game. But the reason the Steelers lost that game and the Colts won it is that the Steelers turned the ball over 3 times and the Colts did not. Now, Justin Fields has done a really nice job of not turning the ball over for the Steelers. I don't see any reason why we should think that won't continue. Colts defense, not that good. But this is a team that if they can run the ball, if they can keep themselves in down and good down and distance on offense, they can also not turn the ball over. You got to win the turnover battle. The Steelers as a team absolutely have to win the turnover battle. And a big part of that is stopping the run, getting Anthony Richardson in bad down and distance situations. Remember what happened to the Chargers when they finally late in that game got into some must-pass situations. It was not pretty. I'll take this defense, even without Alex Highsmith, against anybody if you put them in must-pass situations. But if the Colts can run the ball enough to keep themselves on schedule, they can avoid that. Maybe they can avoid the turnovers, and that's the path to a Colts win. Despite laying all that out, though, I think I like the Steelers in this one. I didn't think I was going to coming into the season. I had this marked down as a loss. I'm just not impressed with what the Colts have done on offense through 3 games. I think in general, they've done okay. I think this is a good test in this offensive line, but I think they should be better. I think this is a better Colts team than the results are on paper, but I got to go by the results on paper. And this Colts defense is not particularly good. They've really struggled against the run. I think the Steelers will be able to run the ball on them, and we'll be able to I think we'll see some explosive plays in the running game for the Steelers in this game, as well as some of those 20-plus ones that they've been talking about when their damn break mentality as well. As for a final score, I think still going to be low scoring. Both teams, I think, are going to run the ball. I don't think you're going to get a ton out there. And if it's high running and low turnovers, it will especially be low scoring. But I do like the Steelers in this one. I like the Steelers 24-14. That's all I got. Smitty, DB on the afternoon drive later today. And then I'll be with you from Indianapolis with Postgame with Smitty on Sunday. Until then, make sure you like, subscribe, hit that bell for notifications here on the YouTube channel. Go check out all my written content at SteelersNow.com. Enjoy.